And welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast. I am your host, Matthew Cox. I'm at the rest of the three-man weave cohorts, Jim and Kai. Every morning, here we are again, dropping another BBOC episode talking all things wagering in the domain of collegiate hoop. Hope everyone enjoyed your Super Bowl Sunday. It is now officially college basketball's time to shine. Today's episode, the usual rundown, games of the week, power, mid-major level, favorite favorites, live dogs. We'll take out the trash to close it out, and we've been pretty money at taking out the trash in terms of identifying good under trash picks, so we'll try and keep that trend going. But first, fellas, let's start off with the big games on Monday and especially Tuesday. But I think Monday has sort of the headliner of the week here with Arizona going to Kansas. The undercard, I think Monday is going to be NC State at Louisville. Then Tuesday, a lot of action, but per Ken Palm's thrill score, Purdue at Nebraska feels like the biggest bout there. Vandy at Auburn, a few others we can talk about. You guys have any strong takes? But I will holster some, which I think are good spots and good money line, live dogs, and maybe a couple of good favorites in there. But first, let's start off with Arizona KU. Jim, what's your breakdown of this game here? KU's interior defense against Arizona's basically juggernaut of a team with almost zero weaknesses at this point.
Yeah, Arizona's ridiculous. I was sitting with a friend on Saturday watching a little bit of the Arizona Oklahoma State game. And we're like, man, 19 and a half. That's the spread. Oklahoma State's a tournament team right now. And they're up 18 and a half. They're up 35 minutes into the second half. Like the team is just a complete animal. Now you've got the fog here. That is also a major factor. The fog is a tough place to play. I think Evan Miyakawa on Twitter's joked like that the number one team in the country is Fog Allen. That's got to be a challenge here for Arizona. It feels a lot like, was it a couple Mondays back when Arizona went to BYU, Kai, and it's this home run spot for a great home team at elevation
Mm-hmm.
for BYU. Can they take down the Wildcats? And Arizona got up like 15 in that game. Ended up having to hang on late. I think they were only up one. BYU the ball with the chance to win, but I just think the interior, even for Kansas with Badunga and Tiller, is going to be a little bit too much to overcome. It's going to have to be a like home run game from Darren Peterson. And I just think Arizona's got a bunch of length, athletic guards to throw at him. You can get a little more physical with Karchenkov every once in a while, rough him up some. Bradley's quick. Burry's has got size. I think there's enough to bug Peterson, and I'm just not really getting in front of Arizona right now. I think Arizona finds a way here. Maybe it's not the runaway that the BYU game was at first, and this disappoints KU fans, but Kai, I like Arizona.
Yeah, it's boy, they're good. I like to take these games and think, wow, I have an opportunity to bet Arizona at a really short price, or as a heck, maybe they end up a dog at Kansas if the market goes that way. And that's tempting because this team might just be as dominant as that UConn team that won the title a couple of years ago that just looked unstoppable from start to finish. I do think if Zona's going to drop a game, it's going to be here or it's going to be at Houston later on this month. KU's been impressive too. They've won seven straight. I think their interior defense can at least stand up to Arizona. Matt mentioned it right off the top, at least slow them down. And of course, you have the best player on the floor in Peterson. As good as Arizona is, Peterson is the best offensive player in this game. And I think the handlers might let him play 30, 35 minutes, Matt. I think they might. So I actually think KU takes this one. +3 would be great to get in the fog.
Yeah, that's what it kind of, I don't know what the actual number is going to be here. We're recording a little earlier to accommodate Super Bowl festivities. No official. I see a +2 for Kansas
Yeah, that's
out
probably
there.
my limit if I was going to go on KU. Wouldn't probably recommend lower than +2.
I agree. I think anything lower, you're just Jim, to Jim's point. There's no reason to force to pay a tax to bet against Arizona as good as
Yeah.
they've been, as versatile as they've been, as proven as they've been on all over the country.
Yeah, both
NC
DraftKings and
State.
FanDuel have Arizona juiced 1.5. Like,
Hmm.
got to pay -116 or -118, and then only 1.5 for KU. Yeah, I want a little bit
No
more
thanks.
if I'm going against the top team in the country there.
Yeah, I want like three or more to like feel like the Bill Self home dog to like if that angles if you're into that kind of thing. Um, ACC NC State at Louisville, very fascinating handicap here. Talked about how Louisville's been kind of a bimodal team in competition. Not sure where NC State falls on that spectrum, right? Are they in the Duke, UNC, Virginia tier, or are they more in the middle mushy tier? Um, obviously been playing better as of late, but we know they've been inconsistent, unreliable. I think it's a good live betting game if you're like actually like dialing this game watching. Kai, I don't know if I have a
Mhm.
pregame opinion on this sidewise. If it's around -5, I would wager it might be a little bit lower than that, like 4 actually. Just 'cause I think the market has a pretty high opinion of NC State, given the kind of they feel like a buy low for some in some respects.
Yeah, kind of similar-ish profile teams in terms of like resume-wise. Neither team has beaten a top, or well, okay, NC State's beaten one top 30 team in Ken Palm. Louisville's beaten 0, so they don't have like marquee wins. Both obviously very good teams. Both run, both shoot a lot of threes. Both are really well coached. Wade and Kelsey, obviously very good coaches. NC State has looked very good lately. We've talked a couple times about how they're feeling themselves recently. Six wins in a row, nothing to sneeze at. Their shooting is also just crazy. So Louisville shoots the most threes in the country. NC State actually makes them. Sixth best 3-point percentage in the country, #1 in the ACC. I think it's pretty real, but I do think this is a game that Louisville can extend in, given the possessions we're bound to see. I think we can get mid 70s up here. I think transition is going to be hot and heavy. I lean towards the Cardinals, Jim. -5 is probably my limit on that one. That's kind of the Ken Pom line. But I lean their way.
Yeah, I've been kind of on NC State and off NC State recently. I backed him last Monday at SMU, and per what I'm looking at per team rankings, that game closed pick. I
Hmm.
got like -1.5 and lost. So line value matters, folks. Make sure you get the right one or do the best you can to do so. But then on Saturday, I backed Virginia Tech because I thought cocky NC State would take it off the gas a little bit and kind of got lucky for Virginia Tech to sneak in the back door and cover 9.5, 10. This says it closed 9. So looking actually at team rankings, closing lines, NC State is 5-0-1 against the spread their last 6.
Yep.
I think they're playing very well. My concern here is their perimeter defense can be awful, and SMU sort of lit them up from deep. They gave up threes at a bottom 25 rate in the entire country. Now you're playing Louisville, who just wants to get them up. Now, part of that maybe helps NC State because their interior defense is not very good. They don't have a ton of size shot blocking around the rim, so they're just forcing you to beat them with jumpers. But Louisville's just going to be happy to do that. Matt, I think this is one where Louisville's kind of impressive two-way dominance inside, the top 10 nationally in both 2-point percentage offense and defense, helped by their 2-point attempt distance, which is really good on both ends too. I think if they force their way to the rim and get some easy ones against NC State, that loosens things up. They start knocking down threes. It's not, it would be the biggest Louisville win of the season so far this year.
Hmm.
I guess Kentucky's aging well too, but
Hmm.
I lean towards Louisville like Kai.
Yeah, I think both teams. I mean, Louisville's probably what a 6-7 seed. I mean, they're not all the way safe, but they're safe-ish. But this is kind of, I think, a pretty huge game for teams that are, in a league where you don't have a ton of big win opportunities. You got to take care of business when you got the chances. NC State probably needs a little bit more. Of note, NC State is 5-2 against the spread on the road this year. They've been a pretty good road team. They've traveled pretty well, which kind of makes sense with sort of the Will Wade and how their arrogance. They like to kind of go in and silence the crowd of opposing team. I think they kind of play with a little bit of sway. They have some adults on that team, guys who've been around
Yeah.
for 5, 6, 7 years, who've played in every hostile environment you can think of.
Copeland's been amazing. It's probably
And
worth
he's been
pointing that out.
amazing. Yeah, they've really
His
found a
last 5
version of him.
games, 10 assists, 16 assists, 10 assists, 9 assists, 9 assists. Like he has been mega table setter. And obviously having the shooting that Kai mentioned helps because they knock down every jumper. So all he has to do is set them up and the shots go in.
It's funny. They're 14-9 against the spread on the year. It feels like they've like underachieved, but they get a lot of close covers in their cover margin, not like crazy, but Will Wade has been a plus EV portfolio this season. All right, let's go to Tuesday. Let's lead with Purdue at Nebraska, Kai.
Hmm.
Great matchup here. Battle of
Hmm.
bigs and I guess solid skilled guards. I wouldn't say either team is
Well,
crazy athletic.
no.
Does this feel like kind of a high variance game, right? Like Purdue's recent struggles, to put it lightly. Does this feel like you're getting a buy low on Purdue here, or is this just a weird match? But the way Nebraska can kind of space you out there with their inverted big approach and rink mast.
Yeah. The first question I asked was, when's the last good game Purdue's played? They beat Maryland by 30, so that's probably the answer, which is recent. But other than that, like they're 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 games. It has not been good. And Nebraska, while they finally showed they were mortal by losing games, they had Michigan on the ropes and they led Illinois in the second half. I think this team is super legit still. And I kind of think Purdue's in trouble in this game, Jim. I think the Huskers are in much better form. I think Mast and Burke can kind of stand up to the Purdue front line, at least somewhat. And the team just clicks. They're so well connected. Sam Hoiberg is a very underrated player. I'm not a big Nepo baby guy, so I don't love the coach's son thing, but he really does play hard and he makes a lot of stuff happen out there. I lean Nebraska in this one. Ken Palm's got it -2.
Yeah, I kind of went starting to handicap this game thinking I'd end up on Purdue, like, oh, a little bit more buy low. And as I look at some of the matchup stuff, I don't really think so. I think Purdue has struggled badly against bigs that can shoot. Like Oregon stuck with them. Illinois lit them the heck up offensively. Bilodeau hit 4 threes for UCLA. Like their bigs don't want to be out on the perimeter, and Rick Mast can light it up. He's had some games this year where he's made like 5+ threes. He's going to fire away. They space it so well that opens things up for cuts. And they've got some bigger wings. Like Frager, I think, is going to be a problem off the bounce. Lawrence even is kind of a physical driver. And that has really given major problems to Purdue because they don't have wing size. They don't have athleticism that can guard that type of player. And then Sanford has sneakily been like one of the best shooters in the entire country, high volume, over 40%, perfect fit for this offense. I think Purdue really struggles to get stops, and we continue to wonder what's going on with their defense. I mean, that Oregon effort at home was bad. I know Biddle returned, but
Still bad.
they were desperate to escape from that game late. So yeah, I lean Nebraska too, Matthew. Not something I'm locking in, but I'm Huskers.
Yeah, you got to think what would that Nebraska game with against Michigan look like with Mast out there? They still almost beat him without him, but that would have been a good matchup. Obviously, he's a great player, but that sort of piece back against Purdue, I think, means a ton. Do we have any take on Vandy Auburn? It just I feel like the Purdue Nebraska game feels like it's going to be there's some volatility there, but Vandy Auburn feels like, man, who knows? Vandy certainly had their recent skid issues, and then Auburn I still can't quite figure out. I was really selling this team hard, but they've been like a lot of the SEC middle mushy teams. There's been just some kind of good and bad with a lot of these squads. Kempom has this like -1. Feels like Alabama off the Iron Bowl loss is in the better spot, Jim. But I don't know. Vandy's off a tough loss to OU at home, which wasn't great either.
Yeah, they played like garbage. They it says they lost by one. Well, they were down
They're
by
down like
21 with
22 or
5 minutes
something.
left.
Yeah.
5 minutes left. They almost erased it and came all the way back, which would have been crazy. But I can't mistake that for them having actually played well. Yeah, neither team really firing on all cylinders. I thought I thought Auburn would be a very good buy low, but their 3-point splits continue to be just brutal on both ends of the court in SEC play. They're sub 30% on offense. Opponents are at almost 40%. That scares me against Vandy, who can really light it up. Tanner was brilliant down the stretch against Oklahoma, trying to get them back in, and he had 37. Good Lord.
Let's go good.
Yeah, I that one's I'm kind of staying away from. I think they're volatile. You mentioned live betting game earlier with NC State SMU. I could see this one being fairly good live betting too. Both teams like to play fast. Could be a little bit erratic in outcome.
It's very hard to picture Auburn losing 2 in a row at the Jungle. But they've lost 4 games at home this year. They're clearly vulnerable.
Should have lost 5. Bethune-Cookman had them.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I know who the better coach is. No offense to Stephen Pearl, but I'll take Byington every single day of the week. And I think Vanderbilt has some nice matchup options for Keyshawn Hall. McLaughlin, I think, is a great matchup for him. Murphy worries me a little bit on Auburn's side against Vanderbilt. They're just not a huge team. But I kind of like Vandy here. Lean their way at certainly a +1, what Ken Palm has.
It's a big turnover, battle of turnover, forcing possession, tug of war. Both teams really excel in that on both ends.
Vandy really good with the ball too.
Yeah. Let's talk mid-majors. Monday, we have a couple of Missouri Valley teams in action. Actually, sorry, every team in Missouri Valley is in action on Monday, except for our Flames, who did not get it done at home in the biggest game in program history over the weekend. And UNC Wilmington at Charleston is a sneaky awesome tilt. I have a take in that game, and then there's a bunch of SWAC and Southland games. Tuesday, we had a lot bigger, a lot more heft with Mountain West action, A10 action, Horizon action, a couple of which we can touch on. But first, any take on any of the Valley games, either of you? Belmont at Bradley, Northern Iowa at Murray are probably the 2 best games. Belmont at Bradley specifically. Belmont's been a dump truck. Bradley has been sort of inconsistent, but they're quietly sitting like right there at the top of the leaderboard. But it's been a lot of middle to bad team merchanting, I would say. Kai, I kind of lean Belmont in that one. I was considering firing But no official play for me in any of those Valley games. But I'm just not a big Bradley guy this year. I feel like they're a little overvalued with some high margin victories against bad teams in that league.
Yeah, and Belmont rocks. They're a full 2 games ahead of the next team in the Valley, and they're 30 spots higher in Ken Palm than the next best team. They're running away with it. Game one in this between these two teams, it was close most of the way. Belmont extended late. Both teams shot very, very well. I just think Belmont's more consistent, and Bradley's a really tough place to play. But I can't go against the Bruins, man. They're number one in the Valley in both 2 and 3 point percentage. Their offense is beautiful. Lundblade is a fireball from deep. Definitely lean their way at -4. And the other one, Jim, I think Tristan Smith is the key for Northern Iowa against Murray. He came back, played a little bit in their last game. You and I actually beat Murray State without him. I don't think that happens again. They got dominated on the glass. They shot well, and Murray shot like piss. So I lean Murray State in that one pretty hard. In fact, I'm going to take Murray State in that game.
Yeah, I watched that entire first game, and that was like my ultimate. Murray State can't guard anything. Without Tristan Smith, they were just getting torched by Northern Iowa, whose offense is awful. It's ninth in the Valley. It's 267th nationally. They play really slow. They never score, and they racked up 80 points. Very efficient performance too, 1.22 at home. I think Murray State does probably bounce back there. My concern with Belmont and why I'm not going to bet them, even though they've covered 5 of 6 and look like a wagon, is still no Nick McLean back. And Jaquan Johnson can like mess up your world for Bradley. He's one of the best on-ball guys in the country, steal rate 5th in the country. He's so quick and get under you. And if Belmont can't really get into some of their stuff and they turn it over a little bit, they're just not comfortable. Maybe the offense doesn't look as smooth, but there's not a lot of reason to worry about them based on their recent results, having won 9 in a row and ascended right back to the top of the Valley by multiple games. So the one I like most there is probably Murray State, even with Tristan Smith maybe back. As Kai mentioned, he played 8 minutes and did nothing. So it's like barely counts that he returned.
It is crazy in the Valley. Drake, who I think is becoming more respectable, and SIU, who is better than their record, obviously, and Valpo being kind of feisty. It's like 9 really good teams in that league that could probably win the tournament. I mean, obviously, if you're in that back draw, it's tough, but Indiana State and Evansville are not like the others. All right, let's talk UNC Wilmington at Charleston. This is an official bet for me. I love Charleston. Updated. Let's see, is there a number out? Ooh, I like -1. I might be betting that live on the show. Sorry, folks, if it's -3 when you hear this tomorrow. This team, as we kind of thought would be, the upside was always there. Had a lot of injuries. Had the weird non-con thing where Mac parted ways one of his assistants. There was some frustration. But now you've kind of got the emergence in parallel with Chol and Reeves, like the 2 most dominant interior players in the league, except for maybe Pat Wessler, who will be neutralized, I think, by one or both of them. And they got Dugan back, who's been kind of a key catalyst defensively, and they're going to need him to slot one of those good wings that Wilmington has. So I just think the matchup's really good here. Wilmington's coming off that loss at home at Trask, which is a rarity. You could argue it's a good spot. I'm not buying into that. I just think Charleston's the more talented team here, and their mojo is ascending upward quickly. So best bet for me there, Kai. Any take?
Yeah, I like Charleston too. To your point about them being hot, 5 straight covers, 9-3 against the spread in the last 12. You got shooting rush on your side. They're due for better shooting in the league, and Wilmington, no one can make a 3 against them. Their defense is very good, but they allow a high rate of 3s. And Charleston doesn't foul, and that's really key against the Wilmington team that gets the line better than any team in the Coastal. So I like Charleston too, Matt, and I'm adding it as an official play. -1 sounds pretty good to me.
Across the board, make it 3. I'm in on
Yeah.
Charleston as well. I've got some futures on UNC Wilmington to win this conference, and the home loss to William and Mary that I watched most of the second half was alarming. And they could not get stops. UNC Wilmington made 11 threes, 46% from 3. Okay, so William and Mary also did the same thing, 11 threes, right up there. But the defense didn't look that sharp to me. The interior defense, especially, hasn't been good in league play. Wessler's a great finisher, like double-double machine inside, but he's not like a intimidator at the rim, not a vertical presence. Whereas, as Matt mentioned, Charleston's got multiple of those, and they've kind of come together. They lost Mr. Dean to the ACL tear early, and Hickman is he going to play or not? They are kind of coalescing into the team that people saw in the preseason, the talent on the roster. They have definitely the most expensive roster in the league. And Wilmington hasn't gotten some guys healthy. Like CJ Luster is going to miss the whole year. Gavin Walsh has been out, a great rebounder. So I think Charleston's like a better version of themselves right now than Wilmington is. And yeah, at home, very, very high stakes in this league. It's basically for conference lead and the edge to win the title. I like Charleston as well.
Yeah, I was going to suggest Charleston to win the league futures. I think a couple books have those out there still available, but they do have a tough schedule coming down the stretch. I need to check the updated sim. They have to go back to Trask, obviously, which is a tough place to play. Have to go to NCA&T, which is a weird, tough place to play. Campbell's been red hot. I like my roll hump Camels right now too, but that's a team on a mission. So, yep, Charleston clean sweep. Let's pivot to Tuesday. I don't have anything official here. I did want to mention one that I looked at, and we'll talk about this later potentially. Is San Jose. Actually, I'll just hold a second. I think I will have official money line play on San Jose. I'm playing UNLV, who will go through as maybe the biggest variance monster in the entire country. But anything on Tuesday stand out to you guys from the Horizon or the A10? St. Joe hosting Fordham, IU Indy hosting Milwaukee, a couple that I looked at. Just Milwaukee seems to be playing better with Fields back, but I had nothing official, so I don't want to belabor stuff that I don't have action on.
I got
I get to
nothing, Matthew.
I get to fade Air Force with a top 100 team. I'm going to do that.
That's a good point.
Colorado State -13 at Air Force, team that's not going to
So,
be impacted
yeah,
at all by elevation. Air Force just lost by
I was like,
34 again to San Diego State. I know we got burned with Grand Canyon on this show
I know.
last week. Backdoor bull crap by Air Force to cover like the final number with a layup. That's not gonna it's not gonna keep me off it again. I just think that team is a total zombie. Sorry to the air troops, but they're bad. And Colorado State can be very erratic because they take a lot of threes, they give up a lot of threes, but they can shoot the lights out. And if Air Force tries to zone them at all, like good luck. So I will take Colorado State there. It's 13 right now at Ken Palm. I'd lay up to 15.
that's pretty
Yeah, maybe.
short. Yeah,
They
that's
dominated them in the
pretty
first
short.
game, and that's the game I think they got
Beat him by 29 first game.
Jorgensen back, which is a huge boost. I just feel like they're not super athletic, but they did clearly. I mean, they controlled that game the first time. So, yeah, I'll. All right, maybe Jim. All right, we're going to live dogs. Tough week last week for our recommendations. UIC, South Carolina, and Valpo.
Well, it's
Um,
freaking Elijah Crawford, man. Got
Elijah
ejected in like
Crawford.
the second minute
Yeah,
for
what
UIC. Why that really
kind of a
ruined
tough
that bet.
call, but still, big game. Team needs you. Don't get ejected
Yeah,
after the
our
second
whole
minute.
handicap was this guy's been back. He's been awesome, and then he's booted from the game immediately.
I got one. I guess sorry, I got two this week. Oregon and Indiana. We mentioned Oregon and how unimpressed we were with Purdue, but Biddle's back, and I think this is a good value. I'm curious what the line's going to open here on Monday. Oregon at IU. Well, let's see. Let's
Well, we
check.
got
It is
Ken Palm 11.
opens 11, so right on. I think Oregon money is coming hard because of the Bill return, and I think the perceived matchup that he's a mismatch for IU's front line. Although Sam Alexis coming off his best game of the year, I don't think Sam Alexis can guard Nate Biddle though. I think IU
No,
will have to very clearly scheme around Biddle, as any coach who's smart should, given what Oregon's limitations are this year. But Dana Altman, with what he just kind of proved in Mackey, the quick trip down to Bloomington, that's a look for me. I didn't officially pull it, but I wanted to bring it up. And then also Howard versus Yale. These two teams have played every year last 4 or 5. 4 years, the two that have been at Howard, they've been very close. The two at Yale have been complete runaways. So this one at Howard, the nation's capital, we always talk about some of these MEAC SWAC teams getting rare home games against cool teams. Just the thoughts, fellas, for your Monday to wet your beaks.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm intrigued by
go Jim.
Howard for sure. Like I before I even saw you put it in the outline, I was like, oh, that's a weird spot. Yale's like in a real dogfight in the Ivy. It's not like they've pulled away the way we thought they would. So that like one-off game going down to DC and playing at a MEAC school that should have a very good atmosphere, like Howard fills that arena. I definitely think that's live. I probably won't go money line, but very, very interested in the +9. The other one, it's not one of the ones that you brought up, and we did kind of like gloss over the A10 before, but GW without Rafael Castro has been no bueno. And Rhode Island, while not a team I love, is erratic enough to go in and win there. They won at Dayton, they won at Richmond, they won at Davidson. They've actually traveled reasonably well. And I don't know if Castro's going to return. It's a Tuesday game, so this is something to monitor for people, and I'm not going to lock it in officially because of that. But if he's out and you're getting like 5 and money line somewhere like +220, I don't know exactly what that would be. Matt's more of the converter, the
And
mental
I gotta have
converter
my
in the
my
money
table
lines.
up here. Sorry.
But I think Rhode Island's at least worth looking at there if Castro is out.
Hey, Matt, I'm going Oregon. Yeah, your first one. +11 though. I'm going to take the spread. They've lost 9 straight. They're clearly bad, but They're obviously way better against Purdue because Biddle's huge on both sides, and CBB Analytics will tell you that as well. Uh, they need him to play good offense. They're the worst offensive team in Big Ten play, mostly because he and Shellstat have been out. But they can play through him in the post. I think he dominates Indiana's front line. He had 23 against Purdue's, so I think he's going to do just fine against Indiana's. And he hit like 1 for 8 from three in that game too. I think he really bounces back from distance against the Hoosiers. Um, I think they keep this one close. I think they maybe have a little bit of confidence coming into this game. They have nothing to lose. They can't make the tournament unless they go on a miraculous run in the Big Ten tournament and win it. I think I like them getting doubles here. Short travel as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. It's you guys are kind of warming me up to it too. Like, why is this 11 when Ken Palm has it 11 and Biddle was out for like 5 games and they
Yeah, I
got
don't know.
shellacked and tumbled analytically? I don't think it should be 11. It probably won't close 11,
No.
considering where it's sitting right now. But yeah, Indiana's off overtime. Controversial. I actually ended up thinking it was the right call against Wisconsin. It was kind of a trip
Yeah, tough
based on
call.
the stepping on of the foot for Wilkerson. But yeah, 11 points with Biddle in there. I think that's too many.
Should be about 5-1, roughly. I wouldn't say anything below 4-1. I think you're basically paying like a +8 tax. But again, if it closes +8, you actually that's probably decent value, or at least it's closer to fair value. Um, all right, Tuesday. I do have official. I'm going to take San Jose. But first, I want to bring up Wisconsin, Illinois. I don't know if any of you guys thought this was intriguing. Wisconsin was the way they can kind of spread and shred you, and they can shoot from the perimeter. They kind of use that formula against Michigan. Illinois, obviously, I mean their games are more high variance with the amount of threes that they take and allow and drop coverage. The matchup Wisconsin Michigan Wisconsin Illinois is not identical, but there are similar parallels where I think Wisconsin could play well and maybe shock Illinois here. Again, line should be close to a dozen, I think. I worth a thought. That's all I'm saying. Nothing official there for me, but anyway.
Yeah, I will not be fading Illinois. I think this team is so good.
Illinois
Yeah.
off the loss. I don't imagine Keaton Walker is going to take a second straight poop on the floor. He was horrible at
He was bad.
Michigan State.
Get
Just
swifty.
0 for 8 inside the arc.
Yeah, I wonder
Two
if
for
there might be
16.
a
Wow.
The athleticism stuff, Kyle, that we talked about, we did on our Saturday show. Like he gets into the lane against Michigan State and just got his swatted. Like
yeah.
he clearly couldn't elevate. And
Yeah, makes
There
sense.
was a problem there.
6'6", 185. Yeah.
Yeah, Wisconsin doesn't have that kind of athleticism, so I think he has a big game here.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if NBA scouts are putting an asterisk next to the Purdue game, given what Purdue's defense can make players look like. All right, I'm going to fire on San Jose, and I'm trying to find out the status for Jermaine Washington, who is back out again. The problem with San Jose is you don't know who's playing ever. But Colby Garland was back, and UNLV has. I was trying to run the number. They've been, they believe, one of the most inconsistent teams in college basketball for a lot of obvious reasons. They had a huge win at home over Grand Canyon. I feel like this is such an obvious letdown spot against the Spartans, and Tim Miles sort of engineering a sharp shooting 15 of 30 type of performance. They got some guys who can shoot, and UNLV sometimes will let you get open and lose dudes, and that monstrous front line that it has an edge. Normally, I sometimes they just don't weaponize it. So I like San Jose there, Kai. That's off my card. I'm going to circle it. I just think it's going to be good value. I'm curious what this line opens at.
Yeah, lean your way, Matthew. I have nothing to add in that game.
Just a couple quick thoughts for you, Matt. Tyron Jones missed last
Yep.
game for UNLV. He's
He
massive,
should be
22.
back this game, I think. It seems
Okay.
like he was really close. So yeah, that is
But
important.
But to your point of a erratic, maybe potential letdown, Grand Canyon had like multiple buses of like 500 students drove up from Phoenix to Vegas and passing out some quotes after the game. It's like, good, that's money in our pocket and like help the atmosphere. You're not going to have any San Jose State fans traveling for this. It's going to be a dead
No.
Thomas and Mack Center.
Let's go to favorites. And last week we talked about a few that were kind of hover. I mean, Grand Canyon, we don't need to talk about that. Up 30 at half and got 10-2 run, I think, the last 4 minutes against Air Force. San Diego State did not cover, and Belmont was right on the number. But yeah, there's been a few of these where there's been a little bit of favorite fatigue at the end of these games, where in the non-con you tend just to see a favorite run away with forks. So I had nothing on my card. I know you guys like Southland action more than I do. You're both Team Jacks, SFA hosting East Texas A&M. That's on Monday. That was the one that kind of stuck out to me. And then I got Houston and Utah on my potential watch list for Tuesday. Back-to-back games at altitude for Houston after their big win at BYU. I think they are the first team this year to do the back-to-back road trip. So that's kind of noteworthy, maybe concerning, but also maybe why you get good value against a Utah team that I think's kind of a zombie team. Any interest in either of these two or any other big favorite spots you're looking to bet be a bully better?
Yeah, SFA. Yeah. They rock. They're a best team in the Southland, surprisingly. They have that buffer game in between the McNeese emotional win. They beat Lamar by 10, which is right on the number of what it was in the market. Game one was not close against East Texas A&M. They won by 27. And I didn't see anything in that game that it's not repeatable. They scored easily. Um, they won the turnover battle, the glass battle. They're a way more talented team. They're at home. So I'll be on SFA as a favorite.
Yeah, intrigued by Houston, Matt. I don't think I'm going to do it because of the spot, the double altitude, and beating BYU is a rather large win for them. And this is a different Utah team than last year, but Houston beat them at home 70-36 last year. Just eviscerated Utah. And Utah is pretty weak in the paint this year. They're small. It's Dawes, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Okonkwo battles on the offensive end, but Houston could eat on the offensive glass. I mean, they destroyed BYU's interior, grabbed 37% of their misses. I think Houston physicality and just overall talent in the backcourt gives them a pretty strong chance to do it, Matt, but I think the angle is scary enough to stay away.
The only thing here, there's no travel really, right? I mean, there is, but it's not like you're not like the Utah to Colorado where you actually have to, board a plane and fly and play a second game in altitude. You're not used to it. Let's go to spots, and I'll start with one that could have mentioned in the favorites, depending on where you guys stand on the matchup versus psychological tug of war. The Patino Battle Part 2. St. John's Kai Monday tomorrow, or today, if you listen to today, excuse me. Laying 15.5 on the opener. I kind of like Xavier, weirdly, here. Matchup wise, we saw how they could expose St. John's in the first half, and St. John's sometimes has trouble like guarding the ball. But when St. John's dials up their pressure, that's where they kind of flip the script to get that close win at Cintas. Now you got St. John's off that huge win against UConn, and maybe Baby Patino wants to kind of catch his dad off a fat and happy win. I don't know, Kai. 15.5. I know this game will play at it's 162 total, so yeah, it's going to be up and down. I like the Muskies. I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to fire on this one.
I won't be official with you, Matt, but I like where your head's at. Xavier's up 16 in that first game. They were
Yeah.
cruising to a win, and then yeah, Daddy came in and he put baby to bed is what he did. I lean your way, but nothing official from you, Jim.
I'm going to take Xavier. 16.5. It just opened at DraftKings as we are on the
Wow,
horn right
that's
now.
high.
Domestic book. I'm going to take that. Yeah, the first game was a very emotional thing. It was Rick Pitino's 900th win. There was a
Oh
whole
yeah, that
big
too.
lead up to that, and Richard was like joking, like, "Well, no one's making any big deal about me getting my like 214th win or something like that." Which, he's great on Twitter, Richard Pitino. He's
Richard's great. He's actually like a funny guy.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and like maybe you get the focus St. John's effort because Xavier pushed him to the brink last game, but I think it's more likely that they're not 100% in on a Monday after the Friday night game against UConn, where they were all in, basically led that game
Yeah.
most of the second half. And I think Xavier can hang around and make it competitive.
Worth mentioning, we did identify both UConn and St. John's on our spot watch last week, and it did not matter as they were both looking ahead in theory to their big game. So maybe the Big East spots, maybe not always as
Yeah,
relevant.
the other Big East teams are so bad that it just doesn't matter.
Right. Uh, I think the best spot on the board is Tuesday. UNC, who just beat Duke, for those who were under a rock, pretty crazy comeback. A lot of questionable coaching and officiating things, I'll say, as a sort of
Bias.
as a quasi Duke fan there. Yeah, I don't know how Duke shot 5 free throws. Just kind of swallowed the whistle there, like.
It
But
was, it was the least fouls committed in a P5 versus P5 team in like 20 years. They had
Seven
I
seven
know both
fouls in
teams
the
don't.
entire
Both
game.
teams were good about not. Yeah, that was a little bit of an outlier for me. But Miami is now hosting UNC. The former Dookie assistant Jai Lucas, part of the Brotherhood, Kai, the real Brotherhood.
Mhm.
Does he exact revenge on behalf of his former boss in a really good spot with a team that we know has plenty of talent and plenty of size and should, in theory, match up pretty well with UNC? Health wise, we need to check on. I believe did True play last game?
No, he
I was on
didn't.
my
And it
to do
is
list to check, but
and it's personal issues per Lucas, and
that's right.
you're
Okay.
left to wonder what's going on. I don't know if there's internal drama there.
Man, I think he's super important in this matchup to guard Trimble. I would, if he is playing, I love Miami. If he's not playing, I still like Miami. Just don't love it.
Yeah, I mean it's a home run spot. It is the spot of spot, all that stuff. Yeah, great. Short. So short though. I mean, they're projected to win -1, Kimpom. I think
I bet
UNC
it's
is way
around. It's
better.
within a two either way. I bet I don't
I,
see it drifting outside two.
I am very worried that Miami cannot shoot the ball. And if you can't shoot against North Carolina, good luck scoring against North Carolina. Miami has to score inside, and I don't know if that's possible against this front line. They haven't beaten anybody in the top 65 in Kempom, Miami. They just haven't played many people. I don't think they're as good as their record shows. And heck, Boston College was kind of tooth and nail. I don't, I'm not backing Miami, Jim, in a very good spot.
Yeah, they had the 340th ranked non-conference schedule per Ken Palm, and their league schedule hasn't been difficult either. They didn't have to go west. They don't have to play Duke at all. They haven't seen Virginia yet. They haven't seen Louisville yet. This team is, if you're battle tested, Florida and BYU back in November, that's the battles that they've been tested.
Yeah.
It's a great spot. I just don't trust them, especially without Washington. And you want guards that are like killers in the mid range, the way SMU had, because that's what UNC's defense forces a ton of. I don't think Miami can do that. So I'm gonna stay away, Matthew, but I love the spot.
Yeah, I think Sheldon Anderson can kind of be like that power, that weird, powerful middle of the belly of the mid range area score that could go off here. But yeah, you're right. The kind of shooting thing concerns me. It's why they've had to play uh, Malovich and Dort and Dover out even at times, which those guys are one way players, right? So you kind of sacrifice your defense for offense to make that move. Other notables, Duke off the loss goes to Pitt. Yeah, I just feel like I don't know.
I
The
think Duke
line's going
wins
to
by
be
30.
high. It's
I
going to
think
be
Duke wins
high.
by 30. Pitt is
Pitt's
Yeah.
really
awful.
bad, really,
What
really
does Ken
bad.
Palm have that projected as? Let's see.
15.
16. Yeah,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah,
Jesus,
it's
I
Jeff
swear I saw
Capel.
16 like an hour ago.
Hey,
Like when
Ken
I was
Palm's
Capel will.
constantly up to you got to
it's
be on your
constantly
toes
updated.
with Ken Palm.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it was 77-61 and now it's 76-16.
Someone
But
lost
yeah,
today and they shifted somehow. USC
yeah,
Penn State must have influenced it.
yeah. Pitt lost by 11 at Clemson, not bad. By 20 at Virginia, 19 at home to SMU. Like they're in a murderer's row in the ACC. They've got UNC on
Woof.
the road on deck.
Jesus.
I think Duke pounds them.
We'll see if Biba Cummings plays. I think he would be a huge boost for missed the last week for Pitt. They just don't have any depth. I think if you like Pitt, you would take first half. I think Duke can be sort of a second half, put you to bed against these bad teams. So I would look Pitt first half, maybe sort of an opposite trajectory of the UNC game. After Duke controlled the first 20 minutes. To the trash we go. Yeah, we had the Canisius Niagara under tagged pretty well last week. I guess our theme here is we're just trying to isolate really crappy games. And do we like the under or do we like the side? But generally, we like the under. I love that we get the Illinois directional battle. There's no official name for this rivalry. I was trying to do some research on it. Eastern Illinois versus Western Illinois. The
Make one up.
Panthers versus the Leathernecks, Kai. Good old fashioned hate, though, as we know, not so far from the region.
Yeah.
I think Eastern's the better team. I mean, they are the better team. It's objective
Yeah.
at this point. It's like the one time where Eastern will be laying a. We'll see what the number's going to be, but part of me is a little bit tempted to bet against the Panthers as like a 6 point favorite, as bad as W Illinois is. I just like it just feels wrong to me.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, should this team be favored by 5 against anybody? And Western kept it close in the first game. It was a 2 point game. It was
Yeah, it's
at
close first one. Yeah,
in Charleston. You don't just walk into Charleston, Illinois, and expect to walk out with a victory easily. You just don't do it.
Jim, you've been there, haven't you? Didn't you go watch Dom play there once?
I went to see a game in Macomb. I sure did.
Oh,
And
McKeon.
Macomb, yeah.
Western
Uh,
Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah, so I lean towards Western Illinois, Matt, getting the points. The first game was like decent possessions, and it was 112 points. It was so inefficient. These are two really bad offenses. Western Illinois is 0-14 in the OVC. They've won one game against a D1 team this season. It's been bleak for Boudreaux there. Yeah, I lean towards the Leathernecks though, as a 5 point dog.
I believe in Jeff Goodman's coaching job rankings. They were the unanimous last place team in the OVC.
Western.
A league of bad jobs. Everybody voted them 12th, which is tough to see. Yeah, I lean towards Eastern. Both my parents went there. They're always talking about how they hate the Leathernecks. They can't stop bringing it up. It's a constant topic of conversation over meals. Massive rivalry. I want nothing to do with it. I think hopefully both bad offenses and both playing slow offensively outside the top 300 in possession length helps the under because I think that's what we're always sniffing out, like Matt said.
Not to belabor Matt, but it is worth noting that Western is like new to the OVC. They were in the Summit for a long time.
Yep.
Like these teams weren't even in the same conference for
Yep.
forever. So
Right.
it is kind of funny. You think it would be a big rivalry, and I'm not even sure it really is.
I don't think it registers. Other games that I looked at, it's funny. I want to talk about Central Arkansas. I don't know what to fit them in. It's like sort of like
They're so
no one
good.
is paying attention, but they're all of a sudden dominating the ASUN team. They play North Alabama on the road. Tony Puyol team, man, wow, what a fall from grace. 341st in
It's his
KenPom.
worst team of his career. Yeah, in D1. Yeah. I don't know how.
I almost put this in like live dog. I was like, nah, favorite, but I just want to bring that up because fun team that deserves some attention and I think qualifies for a lot of our discussion sections here. But I think that's it.
Matt, we haven't talked to my favorite bet of the Monday Tuesday slate.
What is it? Share it.
BYU at Baylor. BYU has lost 5 of 6, and a lot of it's been against really tough opponents. Baylor kind of competed down the stretch. Scott Drew got his first ever cover against TJ Otzelberger. It was like
Impressive, really. Yeah.
it was on 14 with 4 minutes left, and the spread was 14 and a half. And I was like, oh man, is Iowa State going to get the cover again? I looked up again, and it was a one possession game. BYU had a little bit troubles with Houston's physicality. That's not going to happen really against Baylor. They're awful on the defensive glass. Baylor is. They battle offensively, but I think Keba Keita has a big game. Kevin Young had some quotes about like our bigs didn't make layups, they didn't make free throws, kind of putting them on blast despite the good games of Wright and Demansa. I just don't really trust this Baylor team playing up. Skilling's missed that game again. He's kind of been in and out. So I will go with BYU there. It's -1 at KenPom. We don't have a line yet. Oh, it's 2 now. Okay, another one that moved since we've
Yeah,
been talking
2.
about this.
Yeah.
Are we
Frustrating.
live streaming this? We're obviously not. Maybe someone's
like
got a patch in feed. They're hitting at the books. They're hitting it live as we
Yeah,
talk.
I don't know if like the USC Penn State result had
Tulsa,
a
South Florida, they
waterfall
all,
effect.
yeah,
Yeah,
must.
all through
Yeah.
the numbers there. But I'll take BYU up to 3. It's 2 right now per KenPom, but -3. Give it to me.
I'm with you, Jim. I'm taking BYU. And that's with a guy that's lost 2 bets on Baylor recently, West Virginia, Colorado, and Iowa State would be their 3rd cover in a row. So they're playing better, I suppose. BYU losing 5 in a row, 6 of 7. That'd be surprising. Give me the Cougars as well.
Nothing there. I don't trust BYU. I know I don't like Baylor at all, but BYU's just been weird to me. Too top heavy. All right, 145. We got Super Bowl. It's coming up soon. Let's recap our picks here. I'm trying to decide, am I going to fire on 2 fringe fences that I had mentioned? Jim, do you want to run through your slate? You got 5, it looks like.
Yeah, and I will acknowledge that I was Garbaggio last
We should
week.
recap last week. I was trying to dance around it, but yeah.
Yeah, we try to, puff our chests out when we do well, and we had for a couple straight weeks. And then last week, Texas Tech didn't win at UCF. NC State depends the number you got with what they did against SMU. I lost. McNeese was just dumb. What am I doing against SFA? South Carolina covered. UIC had the frustrating Elijah Crawford thing, and Grand Canyon got backdoored. So Arizona, I'm going to back -1.5. I know you guys both lean the other way, but a team that good, I'm going to take them at the Fog. Sorry to Peterson and company. Charleston -1, joining both of you there. Colorado State, the Air Force fade continues -13. BYU -2, and Xavier +16.5. I think little Patino competes with big Patino. Kai, to you.
Love it. 5 for me. Yeah, 2 and 3 last week. Thanks, Jim. I got the SMU one, so I'll take that one on my record. Just so.
You rat.
But as a
both
whole,
won?
as a
What
unit,
if we got the right line?
We might
That
have
would've been
both
cool.
won. That would have
Yeah.
been really cool. What Landon won? We actually could we done that? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we could have. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Murray -4. I'm taking against UNI. I'm taking Charleston as well with the boys. Oregon +11 against Indiana. SFA in a blowout against East Texas A&M, and I'm with Jim on BYU as well. -2, -3 is where I do go there. Matthew.
I'm going to add Xavier officially. I just want to confirm that game is at the Garden, correct? Are they playing any other conference games at Carnesecca, or is it all Garden? I think Patino's kind of made that all Garden stipulation.
He wants it to be. He wants it like we are the New York's team kind of thing.
Which I get that, but I'm taking Xavier. I feel like first half's a better play than full game, but to not make it cute, I'm going to go full game on that one. San Jose State money line. Jermaine Washington, I would like to know what your situation is. If you're listening, please let me know if you're going to play. That'd be great. And then Charleston ×2. If I could play my first 2-unit bet of the year, I think this would be it. I just feel pretty damn confident that they're just the better team with a really good matchup. Trending up. Still some meat left on the bone of value. And that's all we got. Thank you for stopping by, College Hoops Fanatics. Our season begins tomorrow or today if you're listening to this on Monday. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope the Seahawks win, I guess. Not that I care. Hope the Seahawks won. But that's all we got. Take care.